Welcome to Daggers High, a 1-4 player Euro game that takes 1 to 2 hours to play. As a competitive high school student, your goal is to get into the best university in the world by accumulating the most resume points. Each game of Daggers High is easy to set up by reviewing the rules in the box. Each player gets a character board and a set of pieces. Then, give each player 4 freshman event cards. These event cards are the heart of Daggers High. On your turn, you will play one of the event cards in your hand to take the number of actions written on the card. Once all players have played all 4 event cards from freshman year, they will then receive 4 sophomore event cards, and so on. One of the things I might want to do is get some of these Fs to As. First, I'll need some stats. Let's say I chose to play Columbus Day. The effect occurs, and now I get to add 1 stat in any category that I want. I choose to put 1 stat in English. I can then use one of the actions from Columbus Day to study, and I choose to get an English stat. Now I have 2 English stat, and can take the test corrections action to get an A in English 1. Doing so gives me 1 resume point and 3 YASI teacher influence. If I manage to get all 4 classes to an A, then I can get an additional 2 resume point bonus. Perhaps I now want to lead a club. First, I must get some friends. Let's say I play crushing on someone. For the rest of the year, I won't be able to study. Instead, I socialize 4 times to get 8 friends. I can then purchase one of the 3 available clubs in the middle by spending my friends. I choose to buy debate. It costs 8 friends, but gives me 6 Terry influence and 3 resume points immediately. It also gives me 2 history stat at the end of each year. I'll also want to keep a lookout for any essays that I might be able to flip face up. Essays are like mini goals that you are trying to accomplish, and they generally let you draw another essay for accomplishing them. Teachers are very important. They can be used in 2 ways. One way is to obtain the recommendation letter by gaining the required amount of teacher influence. The other way is to spend a small amount of influence to use the teacher ability. While the abilities are very strong, recs are worth a large amount of resume points, and getting one prevents other players from chatting with that teacher or getting the rec themselves. In this example, I have 16 novel influence. By spending these 16 influence, I can get a rec from novel. Influence cards are another important part of the game. The main way to obtain them is to use Terry's ability. I spent 3 Terry influence and then draw the top 3 cards of the influence card deck. I can then choose one to put out and put the rest on the bottom of the deck. Players can purchase any of the cards that are put out by paying the appropriate cost on their turn. Let's say I put out summer programs and then buy it for 5 happiness. Since I am now at 5 happiness, I will gain 3 stress at the end of every year. I need to watch out for this, because if I ever get to 10 stress, I will break down and gain a detention, losing 3 happiness and 5 resume points in the process. I could also get Bribe Teacher. However, each integrity is worth 1 resume point, and so I would effectively be losing 2 resume points. I could also get Popular if I had enough friends. Daggers High has been thoroughly playtested and enjoyed, resulting in a very balanced game with many viable strategies. Over the course of the game, you are presented with many interesting decisions. One of my favorites is the decision behind getting A's. You can't correct classes from previous years, so in order to not lose access to a significant amount of teacher influence and resume points, you might want to get as many A's as possible. However, in doing so, you aren't able to efficiently compete for clubs and start building your engine. And if you only get a couple of A's, then you miss out on perfect grade bonuses. Sometimes, the best option is to sacrifice good grades in order to focus on something else, despite the objections of the straight A student within us. Managing your stress and happiness is another interesting push your luck mechanic. If a player ever gets to 10 stress, they break down, gaining a detention worth -5 resume points, and losing 3 happiness in the process. You can relax to reduce your stress by 3, but this takes an action, so you are better off getting as close to 10 stress as possible, without actually getting there. However, you can never be sure of what your opponent might have in store. Perhaps they have a stress-giving card that will push you right over the edge. In the right situation, it might even make sense to purposely break down, like if you had a bad event card, as you can always discard a card to remove a detention. Daggers High brings a unique theme and new mechanics to the Euro genre. It also has hints of satire, as the game really reinforces that your goal is not to learn or do well in school, but to play the system. However, Daggers High does not take itself too seriously, complete with cartoonish artwork and a hyperbolic flavor. I hope that Daggers High won't just be a fun experience, but maybe make you stop and think a little bit too.